And a Fox News alert right now, a manhunt underway for one of Mexico's top drug lords who just escaped from prison, not once, but now for the second time. How in the world does that happen? To get some answers, we have Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He just met with members of the Mexican government a few days ago, joins me now. Good morning, Governor. Great to have you here on set.
Ed, great to be with you.
Welcome to New York. Obviously, how concerned are you? Is there a threat to Americans this morning that this drug lord is on the loose?
Well, we are deeply concerned. The cartels in Mexico who operate to some extent in the United States are something that pose a great danger. We're very frustrated because we expected him to be extradited to the United States to be imprisoned here.
There's about 7 different federal courts who want him.
Right.
Murder, drugs, all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. And so we wanted him extradited to the United States so we could prosecute him and jail him here for the rest of his life.
And you have a meeting coming up with President Peña Nieto of Mexico. Obviously, will you press him, and has the Obama White House done enough to press the Mexican government here?
Well, I believe the Obama administration has not done enough, which is exactly why Texas stepped up and began doing what the federal government has failed to do. This past legislative session, we passed the toughest border security program any state has ever had in the history of this country. One reason is so we can better crack down on cross-border cartel-based activity.
When you see what's happening with this drug lord on the loose, Donald Trump, Republican presidential candidate in your party, says, I told you so. Do you agree with Donald Trump's comments in recent days about Mexico? You
know, one thing that he has done that a bunch of candidates have done is they have injected into the race the need to talk about the border. Now, listen, I disagree with some of the tenor of Donald Trump, but the fact is he has pointed out a great frustration that Americans have, and that is Washington, D.C. has not done its job to secure the border, which is why Texas passed an $800 million border security plan. Texas is willing to shoulder the burden of doing the work. We expect Washington, D.C. to pay the tab. We also expect that we elect a president who will start securing the border and living up to the constitutional mandate to secure our sovereignty.
Let's talk about 2 big substantive issues that tie back to immigration reform. Sanctuary cities. Your predecessor, Governor Rick Perry, also running for president, has talked about cutting off federal funding for these cities that are sanctuary cities. They're not just small cities. Houston, as I believe, is a sanctuary city as well in your state?
Well, listen, we wouldn't even be talking about sanctuary cities if we had a federal government that was doing its job to secure the border and protect our sovereignty. There are sanctuary cities because the federal government has abandoned its responsibility. We have to elect a president that will do a good job of securing the border, passing immigration reforms, and that will get rid of all of these sanctuary city-based issues.
But it's a tough issue in your state and other states. I've heard church leaders say, look, if I'm trying to administer, and bring a piece of Christ to people who are in need, I'm not looking for their green cards. You understand that issue.
But here's the deal. You wouldn't have people seeking sanctuary if we had an effective immigration plan, if we had an effective border security plan. And Americans are going to remain frustrated until we do have an effective immigration and border security plan.
Immigration touches the economy big time, obviously. You're here in New York City because you're trying to take some jobs. Some people would say you're trying to steal jobs from New York, Pennsylvania, other states here in the East. You probably put a more diplomatic spin on that. I spoke to Governor Rick Scott, your Republican colleague from Florida, recently. He was on a tour. He's trying to take jobs to Florida. He's got sunshine. What do you got?
We have gold. Literally, Texas is taking its gold back from New York. But we have green as in money because we just finished a legislative session where we cut taxes in Texas even more. We have no income tax, no corporate income tax, and now we cut the business franchise tax by 25%. We sped up the permitting process. We're elevating our education so that we will have the best workforce in the United States of America.
Are you concerned, though, that cutting taxes that much will hurt the education system and the revenue coming in?
No, because while at the same time we cut taxes, we spent more money on education and on transportation than Texas ever has. So we have the Texas model for doing business, the Texas model for governing, showing that we can provide quality resources to services while at the same time cutting taxes.
You'll be at the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow?
I'll ring the bell at the NYSE tomorrow.
All right, good. We'll be there as well, covering it live. Good to see you, Governor Greg Abbott, in person.
Thank you.
Good luck. Coming up, while you were sleeping,